You love your cat. That is not even a question. But there is a very real chance that some of the things you do every single day, things you do out of love, things that feel completely normal, are quietly hurting them in ways they cannot tell you. And the reason most cat owners never find out is simple. Cats do not show pain the way dogs do. They do not whimper. They do not come to you and ask for help. They hide it. They absorb it. And they keep looking at you with those eyes like everything is fine, even when it is not. So before we get into the list, I need you to understand one thing. Everything in this video is backed by animal behaviorists and veterinary science. This is not about making you feel bad. It is about giving your cat the life they actually deserve from the one person they chose to trust. Let us start with the one that is going to surprise you the most, because most people think they are doing this out of love. You pick your cat up when they do not want to be picked up. It sounds harmless. It feels harmless. But here is what is actually happening inside your cat's body in that moment. When a cat is grabbed and lifted against their will, their cortisol levels, that is the stress hormone, spike immediately. Their muscles tense. Their pupils dilate. Their heart rate jumps. Their body has gone into a low-level threat response, and you are the threat. Not because you are dangerous, but because cats are hardwired to feel vulnerable when their paws leave the ground. In the wild, being lifted off the earth means one thing. A predator has them. Their nervous system does not know you are just giving them a cuddle. It only knows the ground is gone. Now here is the part that matters. Do this repeatedly, and your cat starts to associate your hands, your actual hands reaching toward them, with that feeling of threat. That is why some cats flinch when you reach down too fast. That is why some cats who seemed fine suddenly start hiding from the person who loves them most. So how do you fix this? You let them come to you. You sit at their level, you open the space, and you let them make the choice. When a cat chooses to climb into your lap, that is not just cute. That is a cat who trusts you enough to be vulnerable. That trust took time to build. Be careful not to undo it in 30 seconds. Stay with me, because what comes next is one that almost every cat owner does, and the effect on your cat is something researchers only recently figured out. You stare directly into their eyes. Think about the last time you looked at your cat and held eye contact, because you love them, and they are beautiful, and you just want that moment of connection. That is one of the most natural things in the world to want. But to your cat, a direct, unbroken stare from another creature is not connection. It is confrontation. In cat language, prolonged eye contact is a dominant signal. It is what cats do right before a fight. So when you stare at your cat, especially if you lean forward at the same time, they are not feeling loved. They are feeling challenged. Some cats tolerate it because they have learned you are safe. But tolerate is the word. They are managing the discomfort, not enjoying the moment. Here is what actually works. The slow blink. You look at your cat softly, you let your eyes close slowly, and you hold them shut for a half second before opening again. Researchers at the University of Sussex confirmed that this is how cats signal safety and affection to each other, and when you do it, your cat will often do it right back. That is not them being cute. That is them telling you, in their own language, that they feel safe with you. Now we are halfway through, and I need to stop here for a second, because the next 3 things on this list are the ones that do the most invisible damage, and they are the ones almost nobody talks about. The third thing you might be doing, and this one will hit hard if you have ever done it, is punishing your cat when they misbehave. Maybe they scratch the couch. Maybe they knock something off the table for the 3rd time this week. Maybe they bit you during play and it actually hurt. And so you raised your voice, or you tapped their nose, or you put them in another room to think about what they did. It feels logical. It is what we do with children, with dogs, with almost every creature we are trying to teach. But here's the thing about cats that changes everything. Cats do not connect punishment to behavior the way dogs do. Dogs have spent 15,000 years learning to read human social signals, including disapproval. Cats have not. When you raise your voice at your cat, they do not think I should not have done that. They think you are a source of sudden danger. When you tap their nose, they do not learn a lesson. They learn that your hand is unpredictable. The behavior does not stop, but something else does. The trust. Slowly, invisibly, the trust starts to erode. And the truly painful part is that many owners spend years wondering why their cat became distant, why they stopped coming to them at night, why they always seem to leave the room when the owner walks in. They never connected it to those small moments of punishment that felt so justified at the time. What actually works with cats is redirection and reward. You cannot punish them into good behavior. You can only make the right behavior more appealing than the wrong one. Keep going, because number 4 is one that genuinely shocked the researchers who found it. And it is something millions of cat owners do every single morning without thinking twice. You wake your cat up. You see them there, curled up in a patch of sunlight, looking like the most peaceful thing on earth. And you reach over and pet them, or scoop them up, or just jostle them a little, because how could you not? Here's what the research says. Cats sleep between 12 and 16 hours a day, but that sleep is not the same as human sleep. It is fragmented, it is light, and it is doing something very specific. It is restoring their nervous system. Cats are crepuscular hunters, meaning their bodies are built for intense bursts of activity at dawn and dusk, followed by deep rest cycles in between. When you repeatedly interrupt those rest cycles, especially in the same way at the same time every day, you are chronically disrupting a biological process their body depends on. Over time, this contributes to elevated stress levels, irritability, and in older cats, it can genuinely impact their immune function. Your cat cannot tell you they are exhausted. They just become a little more withdrawn, a little more reactive, a little harder to reach. And you might never know why. Let them sleep. When they wake up and stretch and come find you, that moment is 10 times more meaningful than anything you interrupted. We are almost at the end, and I saved the most important one for last. Because this one is not about a behavior. It is about something most cat owners have never once considered. And when you hear it, I think it is going to completely change how you see your relationship with your cat. The 5th thing, and arguably the one with the deepest impact, is this. You have never learned to speak their language. Not their sounds. Their body. Cats communicate almost entirely through posture, position, tail movement, ear angle, and the tension or softness in their muscles. And most humans walk through their entire life with a cat and never learn to read a single word of it. A tail held straight up means your cat is happy to see you. That is a greeting, directed specifically at you. A tail puffed out means fear, not aggression, fear. Ears flattened sideways means your cat is overwhelmed and needs space immediately. Slow blinking means safety. A cat showing you their belly is not an invitation to rub it, it is a display of trust, showing you the most vulnerable part of their body. The rub is a separate decision that they may or may not make. When you misread these signals, when you reach for the belly, when you keep petting after the tail starts flicking, when you keep talking loudly to a cat with flattened ears, you are not just missing the message. You are teaching your cat that their communication does not work on you, and a cat who believes their signals go ignored will eventually stop sending them. They go quiet. They go still. They become what people call aloof or independent. But that is not their personality. That is an animal who learned that trying to communicate with you does not change anything. Here is what this means for you. Start watching. Not just looking at your cat. Actually watching. Notice where their tail is. Notice their ears when you walk into a room. Notice whether they slow blink back when you slow blink first. Because every time you respond correctly to what your cat is telling you, you are doing something remarkable. You are proving to a small, deeply independent creature that you are worth trusting. And a cat who trusts you fully, who slow blinks at you from across the room, who greets you tail up at the door, who sleeps with their back against yours. That cat is not just comfortable. That cat chose you, over and over every single day. And now that you know what you have been missing, you can choose them back the right way.